Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Sunday night. And if you've went out of your way to like, comment, or subscribe, that helps me and the channel out a lot. So thank you guys for doing that. All right, so we're getting into the toughest time of year to bass fish on your lake or river when the fishing is still halfway decent. So we haven't gotten to the fall yet where the fishing becomes extremely tough. The bite should still be relatively good. We just run into a lot of different problems. First one being the boat pressure. You know, now we have all the cruising ships, all the people pleasure boating, and then we have a bunch of fishermen on top of that. So there's going to be a lot of situations where you're trying to take advantage of summer fishing, where typically where you get a bite, there should be more fish there. The next time you go there, the downside of how many people are on the water, those fish get caught. People go back to those spots. So in a time of year where the fishing should be good, you just have so much fishing pressure, but you also have fish that are grouped up. So it's a lot like the springtime when the fish are in the pre-spawn. You may fish all of this area and all the fish be right here and right here. And if you are just in this dead water, you're not going to get bit. But once you land on these places that are loaded with bass, fishing can be really good. The unfortunate part of that is when you have those fish in groups, people find them, it's hard to go back to those same places and catch them. You mix in the fact that there are still going to be resident fish shallow. Resident fish shallow are typically not a good indicator on what you can go back and catch the next day. You know, for instance, you go and you catch a bass and it looks really unhealthy. It looks like it hasn't been eating. Maybe it's a little bit darker than most of the fish you've been catching. That typically means that that is a bass that lives in that little area, doesn't move around a whole lot. And for that reason, there's probably not a whole lot of other bass there. So those aren't good clues if you're trying to put together a pattern. You typically want to catch the more whiter fish, which means that is a transient bass, and a more healthy looking fish that's been just going around for food. And if there's food there, then they will stay, and that's what you want to find. So the best way to fish, in my opinion, is to have one bait on that catches big ones, and that's for when you get around fish, you know you're around fish. And then one bait where you can search really, really fast because you have so much dead water. So back to this example, you need something like a speed worm when you're in the dead water and you need to cover a mile of bank. Fish fast. You can throw this bait, you know, on a 3/16 ounce weight, put it on 20-pound fluorocarbon, a 4/0 extra wide gap super line hook, swim it, or you can put it on braid, maybe put like an 1/8 ounce weight and burn it on top of the water. But you need something where you can move extremely fast. This is going to work around cover and places that there isn't a lot of cover. Obviously, grass is a great place for this, but this is one of those baits where you can just move really fast and they haven't seen it a whole lot. That's the Magnum speed worm. And then when you get around them, you know there's fish there. That's when you're going to slow down with a frog. You know, we still have plenty of good frog fishing left. They haven't seen it a whole lot yet. That's when you can just lock in. And in these places that you're going to find that are good this time of year, they don't necessarily all have to be right by the main river channel. As long as there is some movement in water, these places can be anywhere. And with as many pleasure boaters that are out on the main river, sometimes your best spots are going to be way off the beaten path. You know, back in a creek where people think the fish have left, you run into an unpressured school of bass and it can be on. So these are two baits that I think are great this time of year. And I think it's very important to know when to pick up one or the other, and then to settle down when you're around fish and to go and find them. Because if you're not around them, especially this time of year, it can be super tough. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.